Hello friends, today in this video lecture we will be learning about Hofmann rearrangement reaction. In this video I will be covering its introduction, general reaction and its mechanism, stereo, rate, examples and applications. So let's start with its introduction. This reaction was developed by A. W. Hofmann in 1881. It is also known as Hofmann degradation or Hofmann reaction. Do not get confused with Hofmann elimination. It's a different reaction. This rearrangement reaction is basically the conversion of amides to amine with one carbon atom less. For this rearrangement to occur, nitrogen of amides should not be substituted. In this rearrangement, what happens is that carbonyl group of amides gets lost and our group of amides rearranges and gets attached to the nitrogen of amines. So now let's see what is Hofmann reaction. The reaction of primary amides in the presence of halogen, base, water and heat to give primary amines is known as Hofmann reaction. This reaction involves the oxidation of nitrogen followed by the rearrangement of carbonyl and nitrogen to give isocyanide intermediates. Remember, primary amines made via this technique are not contaminated by secondary and tertiary amines. This rearrangement is used to synthesize primary and aryl amines. This reaction is also useful for shortening of carbon chain, which explains why it is referred to as Hofmann degradation. So let's step forward towards its mechanism. Hofmann rearrangement involves 6 steps in 3 stages, which are bromination of nitrogen, extraction of proton by base and rearrangement of anion, and hydrolysis. So now let's see its general mechanism. So far we know that what is Hofmann reaction, that it is the conversion of amides to primary amine in the presence of a strong base and halogen. So let us see how these amides are converted into amines. Here amide is our substrate. Now as this amide contains these two acidic hydrogens, so as we are adding this strong base, the hydroxide of this strong base will abstract this acidic hydrogen and this bond will break and electrons will shift to nitrogen, giving rise to this anion of amide, or we can say its conjugate base. Here nitrogen is negatively charged. Now this anion will react with the halogen. Here halogen which we are adding is bromine. So this diatomic molecule of bromine will generate induced dipoles, which is partial positive and partial negative due to this negative charge of anion. Now this bromine here will act as an electrophile and this anion will attack on this bromine and this bromine-bromine bond breaks, giving rise to this N-bromamide and bromine anion. Now as this reaction is occurring in a basic medium, so again here this OH will abstract this another acidic proton and deprotonation occur, giving rise to this water molecule, and here this bond will break and electrons will shift to nitrogen and we'll get this N-bromamide anion. Now this step is very important step as this is the rate determining step of this reaction. Now it is also concerted step and intramolecular step. Here what will happen is this R group will migrate to nitrogen. Remember, if this R group will have any kind of stereochemistry, then there should be retention and configuration. Now what will happen here is this negative charge of this N-bromamide ion will form a bond here, and on the same time this R group will take these electrons and migrate to nitrogen, and bromine, being a good leaving group, leaves this molecule and give rise to this isocyanide species. carbon atom of this isocyanate formed here is partially positive in nature because both nitrogen and oxygen are electronegative. So here in this step the hydrolysis of this isocyanate will occur. The water molecules formed in above steps will react with this isocyanate. The water will behave as a nucleophile here. The oxygen atom will donate its electron to this carbon atom, and the electrons of this bond get shifted to oxygen, giving rise to this species. Now here we can see the oxygen is negatively charged here and oxygen is positively charged here. So what will happen, as we know, this oxygen which is positive doesn't like to remain positive, so it will take back its electrons and this hydrogen will get liberated. On the same time, this electrons of oxygen will form a bond here and the electrons of this bond get shifted to nitrogen, giving rise to a negative charge, and due to which this hydrogen will now migrate and gets attached to this nitrogen, giving rise to this carbamic acid. Here, as we know, this carbamic acid is very unstable in nature. So, decarboxylation of this carbamic acid will occur. What will happen is the electrons of this bond will get shifted here, liberating this hydrogen atom, and the electrons of this bond get shifted here on nitrogen, giving rise to a negative charge, due to which this hydrogen will migrate to this nitrogen and carbon dioxide gets released and amine is formed. So this was overall Hofmann reaction mechanism. So now let us discuss about the stereochemistry of this reaction. As we have seen in the mechanism that R group of amide migrates to nitrogen, so if the migrating R group is chiral, then its configuration is retained in the product amine. So as you can see in this picture that there is retention of configuration. Thus, this rearrangement is intramolecular in nature. The migrating group does not become free but remain attached with the substrate in some way. Here are few evidences in support that this rearrangement is intramolecular. When a mixture of meta-deuteriobenzamide and benzamide with labeled nitrogen are treated with alkyl chlorine, only two products are formed, which are meta-deuterioaniline and aniline with labeled nitrogen. So, no cross product is formed. If this rearrangement would have been intramolecular, then there would be a formation of cross products such as meta-deuterioaniline with labeled nitrogen and aniline. And second is that when optically active alpha-phenyl propionamide undergoes Hofmann rearrangement, then a phenylethylamine having same configuration is formed. So here you can see that there is retention in configuration. So now let us see how the rate of the reaction is affected. In Hofmann rearrangement, the rate determining step is that when N-bromoamide rearranges to isocyanate with the loss of bromine ion. So in case of arylamides, when migrating group is aryl, if any electron releasing substituent is present on the aromatic ring, then the rate of this reaction gets increased. For example, in case of substituted benzamides, let G here be an electron releasing substituent on this aromatic ring. So the reactivity of G is of following order: OCH3, then CH3, H, Cl, and then NO2. Now let us discuss few examples of Hofmann rearrangement. So these are few examples of Hofmann rearrangement. The mechanism of these reactions is same as we have discussed earlier. So let's start with this acetamide. Here, when this acetamide reacts with this base and halogen, what happens is that this C double bond O group gets reduced and we get this CH3 NH2 methyl amine. Similarly, when this benzamide reacts with NaOH and Br2, this C double bond O group gets removed and we get this aniline. Now, when this 3-methyl-butanamide reacts with sodium hydroxide and bromine, again this C double bond O group gets reduced and we get this 2-methyl propane 1 amine. Now, this methylurea, when reacts with this sodium hydroxide and bromine, shows Hofmann rearrangement. And again, this C double bond O group gets removed, and we get this NH2 methyl hydrazine. Now this nicotinamide here also shows Hofmann rearrangement when we react it with sodium hydroxide and bromine. Again, this C double bond O group gets removed and we get this pyridine 3 amine. Now, if we take this N-substituted amide and react it with NaOH and Br2, this will not show Hofmann rearrangement reaction. These N-substituted amides does not show Hofmann rearrangement because for the formation of isocyanide intermediate, acidic hydrogens of nitrogens are necessary. Now, if any leaving group is substituted on the nitrogen of amide, it will show Hofmann rearrangement. And this C double bond O gets removed and it will form this methyl amine. So these were few examples of Hofmann rearrangement. Let us discuss few applications of Hofmann rearrangement. First is preparation of primary aliphatic and aromatic amines. Hofmann reaction provides an efficient route for making both aliphatic and aromatic amines from amides containing up to 7 carbon atoms, while the higher amides from cyanides, which can be converted into amines by reduction. So, in these reactions, you can see how the C double bond O group of amides gets reduced and we get these products: methylamine, aniline and benzylamine. So next application is preparation of beta-aminopyridine. Beta-aminopyridine is prepared from nicotinamide as it cannot be obtained in a good yield via nitration of pyridine. Hofmann rearrangement is also used for the preparation of amino acids. Beta-alanine is prepared by treating succinimide with bromine and aqueous caustic potash. Reaction takes place through the haloamide of succinic acid. This rearrangement is also used to synthesize anthranic acid. The anthranic acid is the basic starting material for the preparation of ortho-disubstituted benzene derivatives. So here you can see how this phthalic anhydride is converted into anthranic acid. This rearrangement is also used for the preparation of aldehydes. Hofmann reaction is used to convert alpha-beta unsaturated acids and alpha-hydroxyacetamiide into aldehydes. So this was all about Hofmann rearrangement reaction. Thank you friends for taking time and watching this video.